Everybody in the classroom got 5 tiger points. Let's get some more. I don't have any problem giving away tiger points, okay? So let's switch our brains. We're going to switch over to reading. Great job. Our number of the day is 85. We did a fantastic job working with all that. I cannot express to you how happy I am about multiplication. Okay, you're in first grade. I'm so proud of you, okay? So let's switch our brains a little bit. I am going to ask you a question. And I know we did, we kind of started doing half this last week, and then we had to do our test. Now we're coming back, but we do have our test tomorrow, okay, or Thursday. Haven't decided yet. So we need to make sure that we do know what we're talking about up here with our spelling words, okay? No, sir, hands down, okay? I do want to ask you before we even begin, what is our theme this week?
Our theme is animals.
Perfect, so we're talking about animals this week. Okay, we were comparing and contrasting a whole bunch. We talked about how amphibians and reptiles are the same, how they're different. Okay, so let's come up here and let's continue this, okay? Are we ready? Good morning. Today is, what's today?
Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday. Can you spell it for me?
Capital T-U-E-S-D-A-Y. Tuesday.
Snakes cannot walk.
Snakes cannot walk.
Excuse me. They do not have
They do not have
I want to know who can finish that sentence for me. I'm going to pick somebody who's sitting lovely. You know hands mean nothing. I want to see who is sitting lovely. Tonight, can you finish that sentence for me? You can read them both if you want. Perfect. They do not have legs. How do you spell legs?
L-E-G. Legs.
Legs. More than one. What do I need? I'm talking. What do I need if I want to talk about more than one? What do I add to the end? S. Very good. They slide along the green. Your turn.
They slide along the green.
All right, let's see who can finish that for me. Deshay, can you finish that sentence for me? They slide along the green grass. Can you spell that for me? First of all, it starts with an R blend. Grr.
G-R.
Ah.
A.
Okay, double consonant. S.
S.
If it's a double consonant, that means we see it twice, okay? Here we go. You're red. Good morning. Today is
Tuesday.
Snakes cannot walk. They do not have
Legs.
They slide along the green
Grass.
Switch and pay attention.
Good morning. Today is
Tuesday.
Snakes cannot walk. They do not have
Legs.
They slide along the green.
Grass. This is my favorite part. Thank you, Meliciano. Thank you, Braylon. Your eyes are up here and you are ready to learn. This is my favorite part. Read the whole thing. This is why I'm a teacher, so I can hear you read. Go.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday. Snakes cannot walk. They do not have legs. They slide along the green grass.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you saw where I took that from. Do you know where I got this from? Our story, animal groups. Fantastic. And that tells me that you were paying attention because you could fill in those blanks, okay? Now, our next thing we're going to do is our vocabulary. Now, you heard this in your oral reading story way at the beginning of the week, last week. But, you know, we still need to know how to use these words and how to make sentences with them and understand what they mean. So we're going to continue to go over them, okay? Our first word, sensitive.
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 Thank you, Angela, for clapping with us. What does sensitive mean? I'm going to let go a little bit because we've gone over these. You tell me, what does sensitive mean?
Aware of changes or details.
talking about when I say a squirrel is sensitive? Exactly. When you walk up to a squirrel, guess what he's going to do? Ping, where's he going? He's getting out of here. And I have to tell you, a squirrel is probably the most sensitive animal that that we see on a daily basis. If a squirrel even hears you coming, guess what he's doing? He's running. He's always alert because he's very sensitive. He doesn't, and like Lenaria said, he doesn't know what you're going to do to him, so he's out of there, right? Give Lenaria 2. Great job, Lenaria. Threatened. Threatened. Thanks for clapping. Threatened. All right, and what does threaten mean?
Say you were going to do harm.
Threatened.
Say you were going to do harm.
Threatened.
Say you were going to do harm.
Perfect. Can you explain to me? I have a picture here of a lion. Okay, I have a picture here of a lion. Tosh, explain to me, what does that mean? Why do I have a picture of a lion? How can a lion threaten someone? A lion. A lion could threaten you because he doesn't like you. Do you think that a lion threatens a rabbit, or a rabbit would threaten a lion? A lion would threaten a rabbit because he's the big boss of the jungle, right? He could do harm to that little rabbit. Do you think a little tiny mouse could threaten this lion here? No, because can a mouse hurt a lion? No. Melvin, I need you back on the carpet, please. Thank you, sir. Next one. Oh, I'm sorry, Taj, 2. Excellent job, Taj. Alert. Tell me, what's alert mean?
Aware of what is happening and ready for action.
Alert.
Aware of what is happening and ready for action.
This little meerkat here, what's it look like when you're alert? Right? Are you ready for something to happen? When am I? Let me see who knows an example, because we've been talking about this. Tanaya, when is the time that I would not be alert? When I'm sleeping. If I'm like this and I'm sleeping, am I alert and ready for action?
No.
Of course not. If I'm sleeping and the snake slithers by me, am I going to know it?
No.
No. So that snake can threaten me, right? Because I'm not going to be alert. I'm not going to know what's going on. If I'm alert and I'm awake and I'm looking around, does that mean I'm alert?
Yeah.
Of course. So there's times when you're alert, there's times when you're not. Which time do you think you're less safe?
If you are
When you are alert or when you're not alert?
alert.
When you are alert, you think you're less safe? Let me reword that. When do you think you're in more danger? When you're alert and ready and looking around, or when you're not alert? When you're not alert, you're in danger. So these little animals like the squirrel and the meerkat, they need to be on their game. They need to be alert because guess who's coming around the corner? So a lion or danger or something that can harm them. So they have to be alert. They have to be ready for action, okay? Scale.
Scale.
Yes, scale.
Scale.
Scale. What's a scale?
A tool that measures weight.
Scale.
A tool that measures weight.
Excuse me, scale.
A tool that measures weight.
Now we've talked about it. As a scale can only measure a human that steps on it?
No.
No, let me see. Chat, what's something else we can measure on a scale? I'm sorry, it's Chat's turn. What's something else we can measure their weight? Of course you can measure your body. Who knows something else that we can measure on a scale? Braylon. Food. Chad, what else can we measure on a scale? What did Braylon just tell us? Of course, we can measure our body weight. We can measure food. What else can we measure? A dog. Can we measure pretty much anything we want on a scale? Of course. I don't want you to think, hands down, I don't want you to think a scale is just for someone to step on and weigh. You can weigh food, you can weigh vegetables, you can weigh pencils, you can weigh chairs, you can weigh anything you want. It tells you how much it weighs, okay? Next one, these are so fun. Directions.
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 What are directions?
Instructions about how to do something.
Directions.
Instructions about how to do something.
Instructions.
Instructions
Miss Petty made a mistake. What's the word? Directions. What's the definition?
about how to do something.
Now we know directions when I'm driving in a car. I see the arrows that tell me which way I can go. Here's a challenge. Where else do we see different types of directions? Oh, you okay? Where else do we see different types of directions? Jaden Bynum. We see directions at the store. Meaning, where do we see directions in the store? Like a grocery store? Or like a toy store? What kind of store? What type of store, Jaden? The dollar store, of course. They'll have directions telling you where certain things might be. Exactly. Where else do we see directions, Angela? We see directions on the road. I want something else, something new. The store, we see directions on the road. Amelia, where do we see directions? We see directions on papers. What kind of papers? Math papers. Do we see directions on tests? Do we see directions in centers? We sure do. We see directions everywhere. It tells you what you need to do. Lenara is sitting crisscross and she looks amazing. Chad, fantastic.